Okay, Sunday, November 16th. Time for a quick update. Yesterday, I went into town. I picked up one more sheet of OSB. Fortunately, they were able to cut it for me so I could fit it into the back of my Pathfinder. But when I got it home, I cut it up into 3 more of these shelves and got those last 3 shelves assembled. And today I have all of the shelves painted with the first coat of Southern Peach that I picked up yesterday as well. So 2 there, 2 there, 4 there, 2 here, and 2 here. So the rest of this afternoon, I plan to get a second coat on all those shelves, and then tomorrow morning, I will be ready to actually put them on these shelf units. I kind of cleaned this one off, getting it ready for the shelves. And the only other thing I did today was I put one more final coat of wood filler on the tops of these after I sanded it. It was just a little bit of a divot there at the top, so I decided to fill it in one more time. I'll give it a quick sand, and while I'm doing second coat on these shelves, I'll do final coat of red on these little boxes here. So that's a quick update for Sunday, and we will move on to probably light bars tomorrow and install this. I'm running a little behind, but I'm getting there. All right, talk to you in the next one. All right, Monday, November 17th, getting very close to the end of the day. And from an organizational standpoint, I'm pretty happy. But from a get things done perspective, well, it's just very average. All right, let's go inside here. All right. And one thing you'll notice is the light bar station has been disassembled, and that is because all of the light bars are assembled, done, 100%, ready to be installed. And in fact, in a minute, I'll show you I actually have one of them installed. But before we do that, let's just take a look over here. I didn't really want to, but I did. I put one more coat of the red paint on these boxes because I did do a little bit of wood filler at the bottom here. So yeah, I took the time, did it right, and they are drying and ready to install tomorrow morning. So that's probably on deck for tomorrow morning, but the big thing was I got all of those shelves that I had gotten painted yesterday onto these black vertical shelf units. And then I did a bunch of reorganizing just to kind of wrap my head around what I've got and organize it into categories. Like you got electrical, lighting, cleaning supplies, painting, more painting, tools, that kind of thing. Bondo down here. Bondo's over here. Basic tools over here. More tools. And screws and just sundries there in the shelf here. So that was satisfying to get all that put together and organized. And then we can go out and take a look at this one light bar. Unfortunately, the stainless steel screws that I had purchased to mount these were not long enough. I had a feeling they weren't going to be long enough, but I took a gamble on it anyway, and I lost. So I'll have to go get some other screws. The ones they have are 3-inch. I really only need 2.5-inch screws, but they didn't have any 2.5-inch screws. So I'm gonna have to go with 3-inch ones, and they only come in packs of 5. So I'm gonna have to buy a bunch of them. Anyway, so this is a mounted light. Oh, by the way, all the light bars were tested after I screwed them together. I made sure everything was working. But these are the stainless steel screws right here. Since I can't get a drill in to like just screw it in here, I got to put a machine screw in here and then put a nut and washer on the backside and just suck it up to the wall. So I think it looks pretty good. Yeah, not bad. It'd be better when I get the other ones installed. But yeah, unfortunately, that's going to be on hold until I can get some more stainless steel screws. All right, well, that's it for Monday. I guess I'm pretty happy. So we'll see what happens on Tuesday. All right, take care. Tuesday, November 18th. Getting close to the end of the day. And I spent my entire day putting up 2 lights. That's it. That's all I got done. So, wouldn't have thought it would take all day to put 2 lights in, but you know, it takes what it takes. So, let's go in here and take a look at it. All right, so the 2 lights were those back gooseneck lights. So I installed them on the back wall, and then the electric comes through the wall and into these boxes, and then each box is in series and then goes all the way across the ceiling here and then goes down into this outlet down here. Now I'm missing some all thread and some eye bolts and some extension nuts and some other stuff. So it's just kind of drooping right here for now. So yeah, when those things come in, I'll put some more of these little brackets together that I screw into the nuts coming through the ceiling, and I'll suspend this wire all the way over, and then, you know, wire staple it all the way down here, and it'll just be a little bit nicer. So yeah, that pretty much took me the whole day. But let's go outside to the back, because that's what really matters. And I think they're plugged in right now, so it's getting a little dark. Probably should see some light on the back side of the Quonset hut. This is my first look as well, so, well, at least with the lights on. Yeah, there it is. Okay, cool. So there it is. Zoom out. Those are just LED bulbs, and those are the boxes that I built and then attached the gooseneck lights to. And I had to caulk all around these boxes for some reason. I mean, there are 6 stainless steel screws screwing this box tight to that wall. Man, you could hang on that, you could swing from it, and it's not going anywhere. And yet still there was a little gap between the back of the box and the wall. I'm not sure if the wall is not quite flat, or I'm not sure what was going on, but I caulked all around it. I was going to do that anyway, so just seal it so no water gets in from the back. It's hard to do. I'm zoomed in. Wait a minute, let me zoom out. Oop, wrong way. Yeah, so no water gets in behind it and, you know, rots the wood on either one of these. So they are all caulked up as good as they're going to get, and I think it looks pretty good. So that was my day's work. Tomorrow I can't even really do the light bars because I still don't have the stainless steel machine screws to mount them on the front wall. So I'm actually going to start laying out the carriage doors and see how far I get on that. So the plan is actually build the carriage doors before I tear down those front tarps, because I'm hoping that when it comes time to install the carriage doors, I can do it all in one day, so that I don't have to leave everything open to the elements. I can just tear down the tarps, put up the doors, and shut them, and basically mostly be closed in. So that's the plan. I hope it works, and we'll see how it goes tomorrow. Talk to you tomorrow. It is Thursday, November 20th, and it's been a long day. And I wanted to show you what I got done before I covered up with some tarps. So my day's not over yet. Anyway, yesterday I didn't do a video. It was sort of a day to do some cleanup tasks. I put some caulk around the escutcheon plates on the gooseneck lights, and I also caulked the holes where the wires come through the building. And what else did I do? I got rid of, let's flip this around. Yeah, I got rid of this whole station here, just left the battery chargers, and I did some more organizing. Obviously all that stuff made its way to one or more of these shelves. So and then I spent some time laying out the front door and carriage doors, and I think after about 3 or 4 revisions, I finally came up with what I'm going to go with, and I'll show that to you right now. So here we are. There's the front entrance with the man door here, and then the 2 carriage doors will be here and here, all the way up to this beam across the top. And I'm going to try and put some windows up here on each door. So yeah, I started really early this morning so I could at least get to this point, because I took this whole tarp system down. I took the other one down, and then after I got this post beam up and a beam across here and a beam and this square frame up here and the door in, and 1 2x6 on this right side. Now I have to basically put tarps over this section. I'm not going to put the drape thing because I can't get in the door. So I'll just cut out a little piece of tarp here and here and nail it on there temporarily. That will get covered with aluminum from the other side. I don't think I'm going to go with wood. I think I'll just stick with aluminum. And that way I've figured it out that this door will get trimmed with a 2 1/4 inch trim all the way around it. And then there'll be about a 5-inch space, which is just the aluminum metal. Then this door will get trimmed with a 3-inch trim all the way around it. And that trim will just be like a rough sawn cedar that's painted the red color, these steps here. So that is my plan. And right now this door is just set in there. It's not screwed in. Everything else is sort of screwed in except for the door. So I'll get to that tomorrow. But I just wanted to leave myself enough time to put some tarps over this, so I don't let the bugs in, or at least keep them out as much as possible. So that's what I got done today. Like I said, it was a pretty long day, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I'll continue on with this tomorrow. I'll get the door screwed into place permanently, and I think the hardware for the door will be coming on Saturday, so I can get that installed, and then I can just use the door pretty much, and then I can leave the tarp closed all the time, or I can open it still if I need air coming in. So all right, that's it for Thursday, and I will talk to you at the end of the week tomorrow. All right, it is Friday, November 21st, and yesterday was kind of brutal, but I just took my time this morning getting to it because I just needed to take a little respite after that day. Anyway, I know I did a video yesterday where I explained what was going on, but honestly, I think I was rushing it because I knew I needed to have time to get the tarps back up, and that took like an hour and a half. And there was a little extra tarp work that I had to do to cover the pier and above the door. So yeah, I was rushing it, and I thought I'd do a recap of what I did yesterday and what I plan to do the rest of today. So let me go in here and let's flip this around. All right. So from the inside, all right. What I did yesterday, the first thing was remove both tarp systems. Now I knew that the smaller tarp was going to go away, and I wanted to preserve the bigger tarp as much as possible. So I spent probably an hour just taking tarps down before I even started working yesterday. And I wanted to, like I said, keep as much of this intact as possible because you can see it's back up and it's functioning again, which is great. So then what I did was I put this beam across the top. It's a 2x6. It's exactly 12 feet long. And I decided to put that along the top here and screw it in just to sort of beef up the whole structure, because these carriage doors, they're going to have a little bit of weight to them. And I thought, you know what, it could just use a little extra strength. So I put that in there, and we'll look at that on the outside. There's a reason why I could do that and kind of get away with it without doing some extra aluminum work on the outside. So the next thing I did was I put a vertical 2x6 here. Oh, and by the way, I had previously put 2x4s all the way around here for mounting the tarp systems. So after I took the tarp systems down, I had to remove the 2x4s that I put all the way around the perimeter of this opening. So then I put the 2x6 across the top and then the vertical 2x6 stud here. And again, this was for mounting the carriage doors. I need a minimum of two 2x6s, next to each other like that, in order to mount the big hinges for the carriage doors. Now, I do plan on putting an additional 2x6 stud along this backside of this original 2x6. And the broom's in the way, but there's a little block of 2x6 on the floor. I'm gonna get rid of that. Put another 2x6 up here. I'll get rid of this block up here, put it to about here, and then put some blocking back in to tie it again to the existing wall. And then over here, now I knew that I was going to build a pier right here for the far side of the man door. And I knew that it was going to be load bearing. So with this extra 2x6 up here and a load-bearing pier here, which reduces the total span to about, well, this is 3 feet or so. It's gonna reduce this total span substantially. So now this is going to be supported, and you're basically going to have a much stronger structure there. So no possibility for sagging there. And then the next thing I did, let's go around to the outside, because basically the placement of all of these studs comes down to aesthetics, really, and the trim that's going to go on the doors, the carriage doors here, and the man door here. So the man door will get a 2¼ inch trim around it like this, and the carriage door will get a 3-inch rough sawn cedar while it go all the way up, over, and down on this side. So what I wanted to have happen was, well, what I didn't want to have happen was have this 3-inch piece of trim and this 2¼ inch trim too close together. So I made my pier 10½ inches wide. So if you take 3 inches and 2½, that's 5½. So you've got 5 inches of this aluminum that'll come down on this pier so that it doesn't look like the two pieces of trim are too close together. If they were squashed too close, it would just ruin the aesthetics of it. So that's what I made this pier, and that leaves me with, I think, 8 feet 2 inches from the edge of the pier to this other 2x4 stud or 2x6 stud that I put here. So the carriage doors will be each 4 foot 1 inch wide, which is basically perfect. It's exactly what I was looking for. And since they will turn into the building, there'll be a little bit of you'll see the back of the carriage door here and here. So the final complete width between them will be about 7 feet 11, 7 feet 10½ inches, which is perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. And that's why I basically placed this pier here, and I moved the man door all the way to the existing stud on this side here. So there's no vertical 2x6 on this side. I just put the man door smack up against this side, and there will, you probably saw it yesterday, but there's a box up here, a box frame that will go above the door. So yeah, you can see it right there you can see it right here. I took that out this morning because I want to be able to put the door in and lift it up this way into the hole. And this was so close up here that it would have made it very difficult to get the door into place. So that was sort of my reasoning for, the way I've constructed this whole situation. Now, today I'm hoping to get the door into this hole here and then screw it into the pier and this 2x6, the original 2x6 on the right side, and that'll lock it into place. I'll caulk along the bottom, obviously, before I put it up, and then I'll put this box frame back up in here. The hardware for the door should be coming actually today. And there's actually two pieces to it. There's the handle, and then there's a deadbolt. And the jig to set the deadbolt won't show up till tomorrow, so I won't be able to get that in until that arrives. But yeah, as long as I can get the handle in, that'd be pretty good. And I can just use the door instead of opening up the tarp all the time. And so what I'm doing right now here is with these little pieces of lath, I made it so that when I push the door this way, it exactly lines up with the edge of the 2x6, and I wrapped it with a little bit of duct tape to account for the thickness of the aluminum on the side. So we ought to be almost exactly at the edge of this 2x6. So that's what I'm going to do this afternoon, and hopefully I can also start to cut the aluminum that's going to go above this door. I think what I'll do is I'm going to cut a piece that's all the way over to the 2x6 at the edge of the pier here, and then all the way up to the top. I'll make it a little higher so it slips underneath the aluminum on the top and slips behind the aluminum on the side. And then I'll get another piece that's 10.5 inches wide, and I'll put it down this pier, and that'll be basically all the aluminum work that I need to do. So just 2 pieces. I know you know that's my favorite thing to do, is to cut aluminum, because it just leaves the whole place a mess. Probably have to spend an hour vacuuming up all the little particles. But you know, you got to do what you got to do to get those pieces cut. And then all I'll have to do is build the carriage doors and install them. And I got some interesting ideas on how to seal it along the bottom. You know, obviously it's got a swing, and it just basically, there's nothing at the bottom of it. So there's probably going to be a little bit of gap at the very bottom. But I have some ideas on how to seal that when they're closed. So that should be kind of interesting as well. And this morning, I did have to do a little adjustment on this pier. I had to move it this way at the top, just like 1/4 of an inch. And now on this side and this side is dead plumb. So I am good to go for mounting the carriage doors directly to that, because it's plumb. And I'm good to go to put in this man door and screw it directly to this pier, because that is the hinge side and it is dead plumb. So don't even have to do any kind of shims on it. I'll mount it right to that. And then on the other side, I can shim a little bit and put the screws in that way. All right, well, I guess that really covers kind of what I did yesterday, the recap, and what I've done today. So, yeah, I might revisit this one more little short video at the end of the day, and that will wrap up the week. All right, talk to you later. All right, it is end of day Friday. I have no more light left. It's dark, pretty much. But I didn't get quite as much accomplished as I wanted to. Yeah, let's take a look out here. You can see something through the camera, but it's pretty much dark out there. Anyway, so what got accomplished? I got the door installed. I didn't actually screw it in to the outer jamb. I will do it, but right now it is completely locked in place with the outer clamps that I put on the wall there, and it's locked in place on the inside. I'm just waiting for the caulk to dry. It's been caulked all the way underneath here. It's been caulked on the outside all the way underneath the threshold. And like I said, these things are holding it in place for now till the caulk dries, and I'll put a few screws in it tomorrow just to permanently hold it in place. I got this piece at the bottom. There was a piece of 2x6 here from the original construction. I got that removed. There was a couple of nails that had to get dremeled off so I could put this new 2x6 stud in. The only thing that remains is I got to put some horizontal blocking in just to tie it into the main wall here. I mean, that's the idea really, is to be able to tie the whole thing together so it's like one big massive wall, so that when I hang the carriage doors, they're locked to one massive wall. And hopefully the theory is that they'll be sturdy, you know. I got some blocking in here. I still need some 4-inch screws, 4 or 4.5-inch screws to go in this way into these cross members. And I'll pick them up tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to be a go into town day. I'm kind of out of a number of things, so I got to go to a few different stores to pick up those. But other than that, pretty successful 2 days. I'm pretty happy with it, and that's going to wrap it up for this week. And I will talk to you next week.